Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris and this is Chris Astrology. Today we'll be talking about Venus in Virgo, their personality, their style, and how they are in friendships and relationships. I think it's very interesting that we're doing this video just straight after Enneagram 5 video because Enneagram 5 and Venus in Virgo have a lot of things in common. First of all, both Enneagram 5 and Venus in Virgo are pretty conservative in both their personality and their appearance. If we're talking about Venus in Virgo style, I would say they usually wear pretty casual, minimalistic clothes, and they prefer to look not very standoffish or very shiny compared to Venus and Leo, for example, but more conservative and minimalistic. Even some women, not all women I know, but some of them who have Venus in Virgo prefer to have shorter hair and have more masculine clothes because they are not people who play very much of their femininity because we want to look more simple and more even work oriented. I believe that Venus in Virgo females can have some masculine traits, but we're not like tomboyish as Venus in Aries, where masculinity would be more like being practical, being very good as usual, usually in science, and being very work oriented. I don't think that in our time it makes sense to say that only men should work, but still being more practical and being always in office and not having much sentimentality about, at least like not showing much sentimentality about family and children is pretty common stereotype about being masculine. And I think that a lot of women with Venus and Virgo can be not very showing their emotions and be very work oriented. And it's mostly because Virgo is the ruler of sixth house, and sixth house is a house of service, house of work, house of everyday habit. So I believe that people with Venus in Virgo, both men and women, would be more focused on work. And even if they have family, we would be not very showing their emotions and mostly just helping to provide to their family and helping their loved ones, not with emotions, but more with acts of service. For example, my mom has Venus in Virgo, and her primary language is acts of service, and I think it's very common in a lot of Venus in Virgo. I think that being so practical and so service oriented is a trait that makes astrologers to say that Venus is in full in Virgo. But I don't think that it says that it's that bad as some astrologers can say. As we know that the Venus is dominant in Pisces, and Pisces is very romantic and very dreamlike. So Virgo is very opposite of this. They not very show their emotions, and Venus being a planet of love, of course, it can be hard for Venus to not show their emotions that much to people they really love and care about. And unfortunately, a lot of Venus and Virgo don't like to show their emotions. And even with dating, they don't usually date a lot of people. But it can be a very good trait as well because while they be maybe not very romantic or very sexual, they usually just have very few partners, but they try to stick for a very long time. I don't believe that Venus in Virgo would be a person who will have new partner every week. Maybe if something else is going in their chart, it's possible. But most people who have Venus in Virgo, they try to settle down pretty early, and they either get married pretty early and have very stable marriage where both partners are very loyal, and this marriage is pretty conservative, which is based mostly on providing for family, being very healthy and focus on education and self-growth family. Or they can go the opposite direction and get married late. But if they marry late, it's probably not because they want to date around, but because they want to have several monogamous relationships during their life and pick the best partner they can be with. I believe that usually if Venus in Virgo commits for a very long time, yeah, it means that they would probably stick to this person for a long time. because I don't think that Venus in Virgo would just go around seeing other people. They're very loyal, and to be honest, it's the thing which makes me believe that Venus in Virgo can be not a very bad placement, because I really saw in my life how such people can have marriages of 20, 30, or even 40 years. And some Venus signs, it's much harder for them because they're more prone to serial monogamy or polyamory or open relationship. I don't say that any type of relationship like this is negative, but having a partner who can be with you for uh, several years, very like 10, 20, 30, is very incredible. And if you can find a person who would be very loyal to you for such a long time, yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. And I believe that that's what makes Venus and Virgo people very loyal and great friends and partners. Because usually we very loyal friends as well. Venus and Virgo people usually are very picky with their friends as well. Most people who have Venus and Virgo, I know, not very sociable, and they usually have one or two people for life because, yeah, like most of them, I know they're not going outside at all of their house. Most of them just like to sit in their bedroom and read or search for internet or play video games. So usually we don't see much people. But if we find people they're interested in, we usually try to keep them. So Venus in Virgo doesn't have a lot of friends, but if we have friends, it's the same as with partners, we would have them for a very long time. So I believe it's very hard to fall in love or become friends with Venus and Virgo person because they have very strong boundaries and they're very introverted and they don't like to let people into their inner world. But if you get into their inner world, you probably will be there for a very long time. Venus in Virgo likes to, I would even can say, collect people. Like we choose the best people to be in their life, and they will try to keep them for as long as they can. And I think maybe for some people it can seem a little bit like even intimidating because Venus in Virgo wants to keep them for a long time. They want to know what's going on in their life, but also very loyal. And if you need something, they will come to your help and be there for you. So yeah, I think that Venus in Virgo is very interesting because they're not very showy about their sexuality or their attractiveness, and sometimes they can downplay it by being very introverted and being in their own inner world. But if you become connected with them, it usually means that you both connect not on physical level but on emotional and spiritual. So yeah, if you have a bond with Venus and Virgo, it's usually very strong and will be for a very long time. So I hope you enjoyed my video. If you want to see more videos like this one, please like and subscribe. I'm here with community, and any communication I get from you really helps me grow. And in my next video, I will be talking about Venus in Libra. And I also will be doing my Enneagram series about Enneagram 6. So if you want to hear more about it, please like and subscribe, and see you in my next video. Goodbye.